Alrighty, welcome everyone to the owasp-dependency-check community meeting in the July 2026 edition. Organizational parts first, as always. The community meetings are being recorded and they will be uploaded to YouTube with maybe a short delay. The slides you're seeing right now will be published to our community repository on GitHub. If you have questions during the presentation, please use the Zoom chat to ask them. But there's also an open Q&A section towards the end where you can unmute yourself and ask everyone in the call if you have questions. Agenda for today, I will give a quick update of the version 5 release update, the GA release, sorry. I will give an outlook of what will happen for version 5.1. I will give a few notes about the version 4 end of life plan. And I will give an update about the Helm chart in the version 2, and then as promised, as always, the Q&A towards the end. First off, for the version 5 GA release, it finally happened after promising it for so long and after working on it for so long time. It finally happened on June 9th. The announcement went out. Big milestone for the project, and thanks everyone for sharing it on social media, of course, for the outreach. Also, because this is the first community meeting after the GA release, and I know many people are watching this, watching the recording on YouTube and not join the meeting in person, which would of course be better. But still, let me say a big thank you to everyone who contributed, and I don't just mean people who contributed patches or implemented something, but also those who raised issues, who tested, who just asked questions. All of this is helping a lot, and without this, none of this project would have been possible. Also, everyone who contributed to version 4 specifically, mostly all your contributions are still in version 5 one way or the other, because we ported a lot of them forward, right? So even if you didn't make code contributions to version 5 directly, chances are very high your contribution still lives on in version 5 going forward. So again, big thanks to everyone who was involved. Really appreciate it a lot. A few more details about the release. We released it officially on June 7th. The official announcement was then made on June 9th. The Helm chart, the official Helm chart, is not yet compatible with the new version. As promised in the last community meeting, we added a fail fast mechanism to the chart that when it detects a version 5 image, it just fails, saying, hey, this chart is not yet compatible with version 5. We released a bug fix version 1 week after the GA release, and then another bug fix version 1 week after that. Thanks everyone who raised issues, be it with the version 4 migrator tooling or just version 5 itself. There were a few regressions, so really appreciate you raising the issues and letting us fix them. Also, I think we can be confident now that most issues, or based on GitHub, all the issues that were reported for the version 4 migrator, for the migration tooling, have been fixed now. And it seems, based on how many people already upgraded, it seems the migration tooling is working quite all right in the current state. So if you have been pushing this or kicking the can down the road, so to speak, in doing the migration, I think you should be good to go by now. And if not, if you encounter issues, please just raise them and we will fix them as soon as possible. On the numbers, so these are the telemetry numbers. I will just reiterate, as always, when I show these. Dependency-Track has a telemetry option. It is enabled by default. You can opt out. There are multiple ways that are documented in the documentation, but we only see the version that an instance of Dependency-Track has, and I think we also record the database type and version. That's all we see. There's no other information, and we don't correlate them to IP addresses or anything like that. It's just abstract system identifiers and the version of Dependency-Track. So based on this information, what we can see is that about 850, I think, people already upgraded to version 5 or deployed the version 5 instance, which is quite good. The biggest chunk of them are already on version 5.0.2, so the latest bug fix release. But we still see that the majority of users is still on version 4.14. mostly on version 4.14.2, and there's also a big chunk still on version 4.13.6, so the version before 4.14. I think this is so the upgrade numbers for version 5 are quite good, I think, for the first, I think it's not even a month by now. For version 5, they are quite good, but they could be better. And I think one of the reasons why the number is not higher is because the Helm chart wasn't compatible with version 5 yet. And we know many people deploy using Helm, so that might be a factor. But just guessing here, like no, obviously we can't substantiate this this claim. But yeah, these are the numbers. Interesting to see, I think. Jumping on to the outlook for version 5.1, which we are already working on. And many of these things that I'm going to list here are already implemented or at least partially implemented. The first thing is distro-aware version matching support for Red Hat. I think I demoed or I explained what this is in a prior community meeting. Essentially, when we compare versions, we can take into account the distribution and distribution version of mostly Linux distributions. And this like greatly reduces false positives and false negatives. So far, we only had support for Alpine Linux, for Debian, and for Ubuntu. Now this will also support Red Hat. And Red Hat was a bit special in how it treats enterprise Linux release streams. But yeah, it's coming and it's already implemented. The global vulnerability audit page, so the view in the front end where you can see all the findings across all projects in your portfolio, has been improved, or the queries behind it have been improved, so it should load faster. We received a contribution for custom page-wide banners, so essentially a banner of your choosing at the very top of the page for all logged-in users, where you can announce, for example, maintenance windows, or hey, this is a test instance, or whatever you want. We also received a contribution for dispatching notifications in protobuf format. For those who don't know, behind the scenes in version 5, notifications are in protobuf. They are represented in protobuf. But for the webhook, we were converting them to JSON again, because JSON is the typical webhook format, right? But now there will be an option to use protobuf, and protobuf is a lot more comfortable to receive because you can download the protobuf schema from us. And you don't have to write the deserialization or serialization logic yourself, which is quite convenient because the tooling around protobuf is quite good, I think. We also received another contribution for the ability to mark a project as inactive on BOM upload. And this is mostly interesting for CI use cases where you upload a project just to scan it ad hoc, just scan it once, but you don't care about it long term. And one way to do it is to mark a project as inactive. What this does is it gets excluded from the daily recurring vulnerability analyses, and it will not be included in the metrics updates that happen also every day. So it reduces the load on your system. And because version 5 also supports retention configuration, you can say delete inactive projects that have been inactive for so and so long. So automatic cleanup also comes for free here. It's just a convenience function we think many people will appreciate. And the big one, we are going to implement support for known exploited vulnerabilities, or CAF in short. We will support multiple sources. One of them is CISA, one is ENISA, so the EU entity publishing a CAF feed. And we will also support vuln-check, which is a superset, I think, of both of the previous sources. This will work across aliases. So most CAF entries are CVE-centric. This means CISA only, or ENISA, they only publish CAF entries for CVEs. The problem is that if you use OSV or GitHub advisories, you will not get CVEs assigned to your findings, right? So to make this still work, we just traverse the alias graph, resolve CAF entries like that, so you still get to benefit from it, even if you don't have CVE findings. This whole thing is also accessible in policies, so you can raise a policy violation if a component has at least one CAF vulnerability, if that makes sense. And this also included in notifications. So the new vulnerability notification, the new vulnerable dependency notification, etc., all will have an is-CAF entry in them, which you can use for display purposes or for prioritization in your own system that receive the webhooks. add notifications, sorry. And we're aiming for a release in late July, roughly. So hopefully by next month, this will be out. Just a few screenshots here. This is for the banner. There's a new section in the admin panel where you can select from multiple colors. You can activate it. You can make the banner dismissible by users, or you can annoy them by disabling the little X button at the top right. So yeah, here's an example of announcing a maintenance window, as I mentioned before. For CAF, this is showing the global vulnerability audit view. There's a new CAF column and there's a new CAF filter. So you can only show vulnerabilities or only show findings that are affected by or that are a CAF, sorry. And this also works in the project findings view or in the audit vulnerabilities tab in the project view. And when you click on one of those, going back here, so when you click on one of those CAF entries that says yes with a crosshair next to it, when you click on it, a dialog will open that shows you which source reported it, as well as the other metadata attached to many of the CAF entries. So in this case, this was matched by scissor. It was flagged as known to be used in a ransomware campaign. It also shows you for which vulnerability the CAF was asserted by scissor. So at the top, you can see I opened this modal for a GitHub advisory, but it still shows me the CAF entry for CVE. And you can see that here, also the required action description, and if it is there, also the due date. And if there are multiple sources that assert a given vulnerability as being a CAF, you will see them one after another listed here. Yeah, as I mentioned in the policies, using expressions, for example, this is an example here where we just check, does the component have at least one vulnerability that is marked as CAF? And that's as simple as that. That's how we can use it. For going to the next item for the version 4 end of life, we announced pretty early that we were committed to supporting version 4 about 6 months past the version 5 GA. And version 5 GA now was at the beginning of June. So that puts us at the planned end of life date for version 4 to December 2026. I would say this is a loose commitment in the sense that if there's community interest and people are maybe interested in backporting stuff themselves, we are happy to facilitate that. But most likely the core team will not be shipping fixes or features for version 4 after this date. There's also a version 4.14.3 bug fix release in the making. I know it has been a while since the last bug fix release was published. The current one is already in progress and it will be published hopefully soon. Moving on to the Helm chart version 2. So this is to address the issue of the official Helm chart not supporting Dependency-Track version 5. There were a few breaking changes that were necessary to support version 5. So what we're doing is we published version 2 of the Helm chart now. And we published the first release candidate, and we're looking for feedback from users, i.e. you, if you deploy via Helm. The reason being that Helm charts are a bit of the pain in the butt to author and maintain and to test because all the cloud providers behave differently. Maybe you use OpenShift. OpenShift is a whole different platform again. We try to keep it compatible, but if you run into issues, please let us know and report it to us so we can fix it before the GA release of the new chart. One of the benefits of the new chart is that it supports 2 different topologies that version 5 offers. We call it the monolithic and the split topology. The monolithic is just what you know from version 4, from Dependency-Track version 4, where everything just runs in a single application, both the web interface and the asynchronous background processing. In Dependency-Track version 5, you can separate them, and you can, using this Helm chart, separately scale them if you want. So you can increase the capacity of your web workload or the capacity of your worker nodes using auto-scaling, whatever you want. So if you have large-scale deployments, this is probably the way to go. You can do that now in the new chart. It also supports running init tasks, which is just something we call tasks running at the start of the application. This includes database migrations. You can run them as a Helm hook, which essentially means when you deploy the chart, Helm will schedule a job, and that job has to succeed or has to complete before Helm proceeds to deploy the actual pods. The main benefit here is that if you have database migrations that take a little bit longer, your pod startup is not blocked, right? If you just run the database migrations as part of the pod startup, maybe they will time out before they can finish the migration, and they will end up in an endless loop of trying to do the migration, failing, Kubernetes restarting them, etc., etc. And Helm hooks or migration tasks init jobs, make this a little bit easier to do. It's an optional feature, and you can opt out of it if you want. Or no, the other way around. You have to opt in to use them. Sorry. We also tried to make it a bit better when it comes to catching misconfigurations early. So we added lots and lots of small validations. So when you try to render the chart with values that could cause misconfigurations that don't make sense, we try to catch them early, fail the rendering, so you don't even end up deploying something that will not work at all. And this, of course, also includes a check that you do not deploy the Helm chart version 2 with Dependency-Track version 4 images, because that is also not compatible. We also added test coverage, which is something that we missed before. Before we just ran the chart against a minikube or a, what is it called? The Kubernetes cluster and Docker, I forgot the name. We ran that in GitHub Actions. That was kind of meh when it comes to signal about things failing or things regressing. So now we have a Helm unit test setup where we can catch regressions much better, I think. And we also added upgrade guides for users upgrading from version 1 of the chart and for users upgrading from the Hades chart, which we used while version 5 was still in development. And that is all from my side. Honestly, I would be most interested in people who already ran or run version 5 if they ran into issues or I guess have good feedback for a change. All we get from GitHub is just issues, of course. Yeah, but any other questions, any other feedback or anything we should discuss now? I guess silence is a no. So then,
maybe I can ask
yes.
a question. So going back to the version 5.1, the list of items you mentioned, right? The inactive bomb. Yeah,
Oh, yeah.
yeah, yeah. Ability to mark projects as inactive on bomb upload. So just want to clarify. So there won't be any notification triggered if it is inactive, right? Like so bomb processing complete. There won't be any webhook notification will get triggered. Is that a correct understanding?
I would need to double check, honestly.
Okay.
It could be. Would that be problematic for you?
Yeah, so I was thinking the use case for CI scanning, right? Like, so I I wouldn't want people to get notified on something which is, temporary scan, right? Like,
Mm.
the main thought process was how can I use a single dependency track instance both for CI scans or compliance scan monitoring, right? Like, so it's more like a sneak test versus sneak monitor. Sneak test is you don't technically process or notify or track or something, but sneak monitor is something you keep monitoring and in a compliance purpose, right? Like so
Hmm.
I think it will, yeah, I don't know if there is any use case with having webhook on the inactive, but yeah, at least if there is a possibility to disable that, that would be great. But my understanding was typically inactive, we won't use it for um, the calculations and everything, right? Like, so
Hmm.
the total findings and all those risk information and everything. So I was hoping similar to that, it will be excluded from the notification, but yeah, it's
Yeah, I see what you mean. It would make sense to not emit notifications in that case. I will double check. I don't know at the moment.
Okay, that's good. And the kev feature on the policy is already in the main branch, right?
Yeah.
And we can technically uh, override the status of some findings. Can we also change the severity of the findings?
You can using vulnerability policies. Yes.
You can. Okay. Yeah, that's good to know. Yep, thank you. And the other question I'm being, oh, I think Simon raised a hand. Please go ahead, Simon. Yeah.
Sorry, I just had to turn off my microphone there. I was wondering when we might be c to expect support for CycloneDX 1.7. I know that this requires updates to Java core, but I do think that it would be useful, especially as more libraries are now starting, or bond generation is now starting to support 1.7.
Mm-hmm. Good question. Timely question, mostly. Just today, I think we merged support for version 1.7 into the Java library. Just to be clear, Alex from the maintainer team of that library worked on that or implemented that himself. So credit where credit is due. But it seems like we will get version 1.7 support in Dependency-Track, hopefully before the next 5.1 release. Yeah. Does that answer your question? So the answer is basically soon.
Excellent. No, look, I read the release notes for the latest CDX Gen, and it's got functionality to look at SPDX expressions across a whole application and collapse all of the different expressions for each component into a single expression for the whole application.
Okay.
Now, if that hooks into your policy manager, you can actually now catch incompatible licenses. Just a thought.
I would have to look at how they do it and what they emit when they detect that. Not sure.
Well, it's all on Slack in a C10 channel.
And if Mark finished with your question, I had one more question. It's related to the driver thing I created issue. So you mentioned that making
Maybe before you
yeah,
ask the question, can we give a little bit more context to everyone?
okay, yeah, definitely. That's good. Yes, so I created an issue. Is it possible for you to open that issue, Nicholas? So it's basically documenting support for Amazon Aurora PostgreSQL with the AWS JDBC driver.
Oh
The
yeah, this one.
primary reason or driver for this enhancement is to, support more managed PostgreSQL, considering DT version 5 is focusing on PostgreSQL, right? Like we need to provide a easier way to people to use the managed Postgres, right? Like so one of the popular managed Postgres is of course AWS Aurora, and AWS Aurora comes with a lot of uh, you know features or benefits in order for them to make use, especially to have automatic connection failover when the writer instance changes in a multi-AC cluster, then supporting IAM-based secure passwordless authentication, right? Like so, these are few security as well as resiliency features comes with Aurora. But in order to use that, you technically need to make use of AWS JDBC driver. Yeah, it's a bit unfortunate that that driver is a bit heavy in terms of the size itself. It encapsulates a lot of these functionalities. So the other option, previously we tried to uh, release. I don't know if we actually release a version. We embedded the library or supported the library natively, but then we realized that that library is bit bulky. Then removed it. The next option for us is to not to distribute natively within dependency track, but provide documentation so people can create their own image and download it and use it as needed, right? This is a approach. If you scroll down, Keycloak is also following. They don't distribute it, but they document how people can use it, right? Like so in that link. So yeah, so that is an issue, but I think you responded saying that this can be achieved my class path configurable. So yeah, I wasn't very, I wasn't sure if I understood what you were saying there. So are you saying that currently in DT version 5, the path is not configurable and we need to make that change first so that this kind of documentation will work? Okay.
I mean, it's hard-coded in the Docker file. If you cared enough, I guess you could just create your own Docker file and like add a path to the JDBC driver for AWS here to this line. But I think for making this more accessible and letting users use the official images, it would be better to provide something like, hey, also look in this directory for additional jars, right? Like the JDBC driver.
I see. So one option is moving the file directly to the lib path you are using. The other option is to provide a standard path where overriding the additional libraries or add-on libraries people want to include. But is there a significant value with it? I mean, why not just use the current path where you are moving?
Good question. I guess I would just prefer that path to stay how the application distributed it, if that makes sense. But also I don't have any good arguments for not just putting it there.
Okay.
If you wanted, you could do it, yeah.
Yeah, I just want to understand if there are any pros and cons with this either approach, and yeah, maybe I can help with the testing, but I just want to see if we need to make any changes. Someone else commented this, I didn't saw the.
I guess they're just saying that AWS also has more features that we should be calling out instead of just saying, hey, this is Postgres compatible, you can also use it. Which is correct, I guess.
Yeah.
But yeah, maybe for everyone else's context, we, as Vinod said, we tried to embed this JDBC driver into Dependency-Track itself. But last time we tried it, I think it added 20 megabytes or 40 megabytes of dependencies. And if you consider then someone else coming along wanting the same for Google Cloud or the same for Azure or whatever, that doesn't scale very well. So luckily, the AWS JDBC driver is distributed as a single file, so you can just drop it into the application so it sees it and yeah, use it this way if you want to. And it doesn't pollute our own project or the core project, sorry.
Awesome.
Yep. Anything else? Three, two.
I maybe the last question from me.
No worries.
So are we considering any, I don't know, fixed patch release cycle or something, or it's more or like ad hoc? So what I meant by this, like 5.0.x, right? Are you doing like every other week or every bi-weekly, or how do you figure it out when is the right time to make a patch release or bug fix release? Like
at the moment, if there's at least one issue that is blocking someone from using the application, that's the honest answer.
Okay, that's
or when enough like smaller issues have accumulated that deserve like a fix, that deserve a new release. As for cadence, I think the honest answer is the team is not large enough to commit to that. If it's just a few people coordinating this and merging things and fixing things actually, then committing to a fixed schedule just doesn't make sense. It just adds overhead for little benefit.
Got it. Yeah. Thank you.
Hey, Nicholas.
Hey.
As we chatted in the message, I would love to present as Bomb QS 2.0. in next committee meeting. So yeah, that I would like to wanted to remind you.
Yeah, perfect. Yeah, you're from Interlink, right?
Yeah.
Perfect. Yes, we would love to host you. The next meeting, like it's always the first Wednesday of the month. I think there should be a community calendar. If you didn't find it already, I can send it to you.
Okay.
And if you can confirm the date fits for you and the time, then we can also announce on social media. So hopefully more people will be joining to watch.
Okay. Yeah, I would happy to join on next meeting. I mean, whenever it is.
Awesome. Perfect.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay. Yeah. Thanks for hosting. Thanks for giving opportunity to present my tool. So yeah.
Cool. Anything else, or do you want me to restart my countdown?
I saw Steve coming on mute. I don't know if Steve had anything. I may hijack his question.
No, I was just going to comment on the AWS Aurora driver, but yeah, that I think that that issue has been laid to rest. So great job, Nicholas and team. I'm really liking what you've delivered so far, and really looking forward to seeing 5.1 come out. So this is fantastic. I love the direction. Great job.
Thank you so much. Alrighty. 3, 2, 1. Last chance. Alrighty. Then that's all. Then see you next time. Thanks everyone for joining.
Thank you. Thank you,
Bye.
Nicholas. Thank you. Bye.